So welcome to this week's build. This is issues 41 and 42 of the Robocop. Now it's going to be a little bit awkward because I wanted to. This is the last two of the pack. I want to split the whole pack into three. It looks like issue 41 is going to be quite a lengthy, complicated issue. So I would have perhaps liked to have done that on its own. But if I'd have done that, I would have had to do the previous two issues as a double. And then issue 42, there is very little to do. So I've done it this way. So let's crack on with it because it's going to be, it looks lengthy anyway. So this is issue 41. Let me pop the parts for issue 42. We are going to need the leg from a previous issue. Which is this one, because we're going to add the pieces on. So I've got that to one side, and the pieces that we have here are, excuse the noise, I do apologise. We have got right thigh rear plate 41A, that is plastic, a good plastic. 41B is the right thigh rear hinge A, and this is that kind of, I really don't know if it's metal. I think it's metal, but it's because the plastic quality has been quite good. You can't always tell the difference. I mean, look, can you? If I didn't just, if I hadn't already told you, could you tell which one was metal and which one was plastic? So it is very good plastic. So I'm not talking down of this model when I say plastic. So this is 41C. This is plastic. This is the right thigh rear inner plate. And then we have 41D, which is a spring. There we go. And then we have 41E, the right thigh rear hinge B. Lovely job. And then we have 3 packs of screws. We have BPs, which is this one, and what I'll do off camera is I'll use this last BP from the previous issue. We have some EM screws, which are these ones, 2 of them. Let's put these up there. And then we have some TMs. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'll take a very quick cut and I'll get my screwdriver set up and then we'll get on with the build. So, get me all organised. I've got all my screws ready. I've got my BPs out. This is my TM screw and this is my EM. I haven't left these labelled because there's only one of them. I just want to make sure I didn't muddle up the BPs though. Right, so what we are going to do is we need to take the assembly from the previous issue. And then we need to take this piece, 41A, the right thigh plate. And what we are going to do, we're going to join this up. We have 2 locating tabs there, and we also have this hinge that wants to come in and join there. There's there's a hole for the locating tab and a hole for the screw. So I don't know the best way to do this. Maybe just focus on these 2 screw holes, ignore this one, and we'll pop a couple of screws in there just to bite. And then that will give us a bit of wiggle room, and so a couple of screws in there just to get it to hold. See, look, so now it's not going to go anywhere. We'll pop the second screw in, again just enough to bite. Lovely job. And then now we can focus on this side. So we'll just bring that hinge up, hold the piece in place, place the hinge in. Lovely. And then we'll place the screw in there. And then we'll screw this one in all the way, like so. Excellent. And then we can just finish these 2 screws off, and then hopefully it'll all look nice and flush and looking pretty special. don't overscrew this because it is plastic. If you wrench it too hard, you're going to rip the thing out. So this should now hinge. Look at that. Look at that. That is perfect. And to think I was worried about it. It is a little bit awkward there because you got a couple of locating tabs and they need to kind of come in at the right position. But other than that, it's perfect. Look at that. Right, so next piece we need to turn this upside down. We need to bring in this 41C, and that is going to hook in there. We have a couple of locating tabs which may or may not be relevant, but we've got 2 screw holes there, and that is going to go in like so, and this is going to be a push fit connection. So pressing the parts together as shown, making sure that the pins on both pieces engage. So we've got, this is what we're focusing on. We have 1, 2, 3 pins there. Let me bring that in so you can see them. We have 3 holes there, and we are going to push. I'm just lining up one hole, line up the other end, give that a small push, and that is actually very good. Now it doesn't mention in the instructions about using glue, and I would suggest, you know, some of us, we kind of have this unwritten rule, don't use glue if you don't need to. But if that was very loose, I suppose you could put a piece of glue, a little dab of super glue on there. But in my situation, I really don't think it's going to need it. And what that's going to do is thicken that bit. I've got a little bit of a sprue nub there, and I'm really not sure what to do about it. Let's just get a little bit of a knife and carefully just trim that. That's better. Lovely. Right, and that's what we end up with. Beautiful. So on to step 4. We are now needing to get our hinge 41E, and we are placing a spring on it. Now this top, trying to think how this is going to go and how to explain it. So with the locating tab for the spring pointing downwards, this is what you're going to end up with. We need to place the spring on the top, and we need to just bring the circles of the spring onto these pieces on the edge. Now if this is right, it'll be brilliant. Right, there we go, and I think that is how they want it. It looks correct to me. So this piece is on the top, and then it's kind of creating this hinge. So what's going to happen is if that hinge goes that way, it's going to spring back. I hope that is correct. Right, we are now then going to get 41B, and with this back piece with the holes pointing upwards, and you've got these 2 little tabs, they point downwards. What we are going to do is we want to bring this spring in, so the 2 ends of the spring is going to sit nicely in that gap there. Lovely. And then we are going to bring that in so we can screw that in place, and I don't think that's right. That doesn't look, that is right. It is right. So I'm not going to play with the actual mechanism because it's not screwed in, but what I am going to do is get my TM screw, and I'm going to come in from this side, okay, and I'm going to screw that in, and I'll just start it off by hand, and I'll screw that as far as I can, and then we'll finish that off with a screwdriver. So there's going to be a lot of screwing on this. There we go. It should actually slide in all the way to about there. Okay, so it should just go straight through, no effort at all. Now I'm going to finish it off with a screwdriver, and it is difficult, and I've just confirmed that this piece there is metal, because it's a TM screw, So it needs to screw into the metal, and there we go. It's difficult to hold. You probably want to hold this piece rather than this piece, and we'll see how far we can get this in. Again, I've forgotten to do the oil. In fact, it's not too late to do the oil, so I'll just put a dab of oil on the receiving end like so. And then, because I've already started without the oil, I'm just going to work that one backwards and forwards a little bit. That screwdriver's not happening, is it? So just bring that back out. And then, I do love me ratchet screwdrivers, but when you want to go in and out, oh, that's just gone in so much easier. Lovely. Right, so let's test the spring mechanism. Look at that. So that's what you're going to end up with. Okay, so whatever we do, that's going to spring back. Okay, and we've just stretched the spring a little bit, but I think that's okay. I'm just going to back that spring off a bit. That screw, sorry. There we go. So that was it was kind of slow and catching, so I've just backed that screw off a bit, and as you can see, look, this is a nice springy action. Happy with that. Right, so we bring in our previous part, and this is going to go there. So what we're going to end up with, this needs to come in and then inwards. So you'll see you've got this piece here. Let me show you the side view. See, so that's going to go in like that. That will join up with those two screw holes there, and then the hinge is going to hang over on the side, so it's going to be sticky out, and obviously there's going to be a piece go over there in the future, and we are going to need 2 BP screws. So let's get our first screw in. Usual procedure from me, I'm just going to pop the first screw in just enough to bite, and my screwdriver's not set up properly. Oh, is my screwdriver on its last legs? Alright, there we go. So at least now I can work with that. So we'll get our second BP screw, and this one can go in all the way. Like so. Lovely. Don't overscrew it, it's going into plastic. We don't want to wreck the plastic. I suspect that this is going to need a certain amount of strength, because this spring is quite strong, so we're going to be forcing something against the plastic. I'm wondering if perhaps, I do often say they give you more screws than you need, but this is only held in with 2 screws. I wonder if it would have benefited maybe from a screw going into there, but then it could ruin the aesthetics of it. But I'm happy enough with that. Right, so the next stage then is we need to bring in the piece from 38, which I believe is this one. It's not this one. Right, it's not this one, is it? Right, okay, give me a sec, guys. I may have just forgot to bring a part over to the table. Okay, so that is exactly what I've done. I forgot to bring this piece over. So what we need to do now is we need to join these two together, and we're going to join it there. Okay, and that spring that we've just done, excuse me, sorry, so that is going to go in. So we've got a locating tab and a hole. The locating tab's going to go on that hole and the screw into there, and that will be screwed in with an EM screw. So I'm going to get that EM screw ready, because I think we're going to benefit from having that one ready. So bring this in. May need to just push this back a little bit. Okay, it's going to be an awkward fit, guys. This is quite tricky to do, so we need to try and bend that in. And it's really not wanting to fit, because obviously we want it to come in this way. I wonder if there's some way to hold this. There we go. That's the way to do it. And now I think that spring might not be correct because it's too far over. Right, so let's have a fiddle with this, because I think the best way to do it is to really pull this spring back, like bring it all the way back, and then you can position it a lot easier. But if I let go of this, it's all going to spring back. So I really need to hold this down, okay, and then get that screw in. And all of this, it looks like it's going to be held with one screw. Okay, so that is in. That's not in fully tight, but it gives me room for maneuver. Yeah, okay, it's going to be tricky. So I'm going to gently screw that in, because as I screw it in, it's going to pull it in. Just keep checking it. Make sure it's in. And you really need a third arm for this. This is actually quite tricky. So, in fact, I'm going to change my screwdriver head. I think I need a slightly bigger one. Okay, so look. Doing it like that, it's not going to work, because you see there it's all catching. You really need to get this bent across, and then by bending it you accidentally hinge this, and it's a little bit tricky. And I can see, look, get that down like that, okay, but then you need somewhere to hold this, so it is awkward. But the further you get that screw down, the easier it's going to become. And let's say, if you've got someone who can help you, it would really benefit someone holding this. There we go. I really don't know. Oh, there you go. This might work. Might work. It isn't easy, guys. It really isn't. But just keep persevering. But you really need to get that screw right in. That isn't wanting to go in. In fact, it doesn't help that I've got a damaged screw. I think that screw is damaged. It might just be I've got the wrong screwdriver head. So I'm going to try and get that screw out. Right. That was the right screwdriver head. It was me, I think. Yeah, so check your screws, guys. This is very unusual. Never had this happen to me before. Yeah, it's actually a damaged screw head, so I'm going to take a cut, get that screw removed, and we'll try that again. I've got a spare screw. So that was really interesting. I've never seen this before. But it was actually a damaged screw head. So if I show you these, I'm trying to bring them into focus. That's a little bit too close. There we go. That might work. So, no, let me focus out. Sorry, this camera, if you focus in too much, it doesn't focus. So, can you see that that's what the screw should be? And that's what I got. And that isn't damaged from the screwdriver. It's actually got a little nick on the side. I've never seen that before, and that is why I couldn't get the screw. Can you see it there? Look, it's not been formed properly. It's not a problem because we get a spare screw, and if you do keep all of your screws, over time you build up a massive collection. But one good thing about this is I can now pop some oil in there, because I forgot to do that. And that will make my job so much easier. So let's get a decent screwdriver head. We'll start again, and then we should have no more issues. So I'm going to get this started, but not in fully. So that's gone in enough to bite. And then what we need to do, oh, that's just almost gone in completely. Right, so I'm going to hold that, and then we'll gently screw this in. As I say, that should pull the parts in as we screw. Stop after a couple of screws, make sure it's gone in properly. Oh, look how easy that is. That is so much easier. Right, and that's in. So that's what we've ended up with. So what I guess is going to happen, this whole thing is going to come across like that. Look at that. And there'll obviously be something built onto there. And then when it's time for his gun to come out, there's his gun. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Excellent. Very happy with that. Right, so that is the end of that stage. We have got one more issue to go. I don't like this. It's not a smooth action, and that's not lining up, but I'm going to trust the process, because once it's all built, will it all just automatically line? Remember the trouble I had when I put just that piece in? I wasn't confident, and then once it was in, it all came together. So yeah, I like that. I do like it. Right, very, very nice. But that hinge, yeah, that hinge is fine. I don't like the hinge being shown, but what else can you do? How else could you build this model? On a full-size model, it would be fine, but because this is in scale, it's not going to work so well. Right, so let's crack on with issue 42, and there isn't going to be a lot to do on this issue, I'm afraid. But if I did this as a standalone video, it would literally be a couple of minutes, I would suspect. So let me zoom back out. So we have got 3 parts, if we can call it that. We have this plastic back of right thigh, and it's very nicely detailed. I wish there was some way I could bring that detail out. We then have thigh component rail, which is this piece, and that, I think that's plastic. We then have 2 BP screws. So I don't know why I'm using a previous screw. I've got 2 previous screws, and I've got 2 screws from this issue. So we'll pop that in there like so. 1 BP screw, and all we are going to do with this issue, we have a screw hole there, and that's going to line up there, and it's going to go in across like that. And then stage 2, we're going to flip it over, we're going to attach that with a BP screw. So this is one of those issues that if this was a weekly one, weekly from the newsagents, this issue, oh, people would be all over Facebook going, oh, is that it? But that is that stage done. This is why I like the packs. So that is that issue done. Now I'm suspecting, I don't know this for a fact, that this is going to go inside there somehow, like that maybe. I think I'm talking out of my butthole now. There we go. That fits very nicely like that. So the top, obviously this is going to join up eventually with this. Trust the process. Sorry guys, you didn't see any of that, did you? So it's going to join up somehow with that. Like I say, trust the process. So this is going to be that side of the leg, and this is this side, so we can see what it's going to look like from the front. And obviously there's nothing on this side, but this one, it's going to flip open, and then there's his gun. Yeah, that's going to fit in nicely there. That's a really nice fit. So I suspect in the next pack we're going to continue on this. Right, so this is pretty much the whole pack. I am happy with that. that isn't going to stay closed yet, so I've got to leave it like that. But I am actually, as always, I'm really happy with these Robocops. As you can see, you know, we've gone for 2 issues. We've gone something really rather technical, actually. That was quite difficult compared to a normal, what you'd call a normal issue, and this was absurdly easy. If this was a standalone issue, you know, I always say you get some really good heavy issues and then you get some really light issues. That's a very light issue. It's just part of the process. You have to look at the whole model. So there we go, guys. Now Inspector Shadow's coming in to inspect. What do you think, mister? Do you think that was really good? Yep, I got the rub of approval there. And this one? Yep, he likes that. Get the rub of approval. Right, there we go, guys. So thank you for watching, as always. I will catch you in 2 weeks' time. No idea what I'm doing. I haven't got the pack yet. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.